All right, so, we're diving into some fascinating stuff today, and you listeners really brought us some intriguing material,
Yeah, definitely a lot to unpack here.
right? It's all about meditation, but we're going beyond just the basics. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
We're looking at its real impact on your health, particularly things like blood pressure and stress, and how it ties into mental well-being.
It's kind of like a crash course on the stuff that truly matters.
Exactly. And what really struck me is just the variety of info you've all sent in. We've got personal stories alongside scientific research.
Oh, yeah, a whole spectrum of different meditation techniques, too.
Right. So many interesting points and some very practical takeaways.
For sure.
So let's start with the author's journey into meditation. It wasn't some abstract search for enlightenment or anything.
Right.
It was triggered by a serious health scare, dangerously high blood pressure.
Oh, wow.
And the doctor's words were really powerful. Disease is a club it serves to call your attention.
That's a very direct way of putting it.
It is, isn't it? And this became his turning point. He ends up at a silent meditation retreat in Arizona to learn from a Burmese teacher.
So you're seeing this immediate connection between a physical issue and a mental practice.
Yeah, that mind-body link we always hear about.
Absolutely. And that retreat setting sounds intense.
Well, it was no vacation, let me tell you.
I can imagine.
Waking up to 4 a.m., silent meals, absolutely no phones, no talking, even eye contact was limited.
Wow, that's a far cry from our usual constant stimulation.
Right, and at the core of it all was this practice of constantly paying attention to your breath.
Ah, that's where mindfulness comes in.
Exactly, or estado consciente, as one of your sources put it.
It's all about focusing on the breath and gently guiding your attention back when it inevitably wanders.
That's the key, isn't it? That gentle redirection.
It is because, there's this misconception that meditation is about having a completely blank mind.
Right.
But it's not. It's about noticing when your attention strays and bringing it back over and over again. That's the training.
And, over time, this practice really deepens. He starts noticing these subtle patterns in his breathing rhythms and changes he hadn't even realized were there.
That's fascinating.
It is. He even gets to the point where he can answer this question from the monk upon waking up. Was he breathing in or out?
Wow, that's some serious awareness.
Right. And it wasn't limited to seated meditation either. This focus started spilling over into everyday things, walking, eating, even just observing his thoughts, memories, daydreams, worries, plans.
So it's like he's becoming this keen observer of his own internal world.
Exactly. Always bringing that awareness back to the present moment.
I'm curious what struck you about the teacher's role in all of this.
Oh, he sounds like a fascinating character.
Yeah.
This cheerful man in his 60s, but with this incredible presence.
I see.
He would move through the retreat in his saffron robe like a judge on the field, as the author put it. But the game was internal.
That's a great analogy.
Isn't it? And his approach was this mix of kindness and strictness. I love the story of the author feeling proud of all his hours spent meditating. And the teacher responds, needs more effort, followed by this subtle smile.
It's like he was pushing them beyond their perceived limit.
Right, even when they thought they were doing well.
That balance of support and challenge is so crucial for learning and growth.
It is, and it highlights that meditation isn't just about feeling good. It takes real effort, dedication.
Absolutely.
And this brings us to an important realization. Simply escaping stressful situations isn't enough.
Interesting.
He realized that even in these relaxing environments, the mental agitation was still there.
That makes sense.
And it links directly back to blood pressure. You see, our cardiovascular system doesn't distinguish between a real threat and an imagined one.
So worrying about something can have just as much of a physical impact.
Exactly. Worrying about a deadline can actually raise your blood pressure more than missing it.
So that relaxing vacation might not be so effective if your mind is still racing.
Precisely. It suggests that stress often comes from our internal reactions, not just external circumstances.
That's a really important takeaway, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, for a long time, meditation was met with a lot of skepticism in the West. Especially back in the 60s, it was seen as this fringe alternative thing.
Right. It wasn't really taken seriously.
Yeah, but then comes Dr. Herbert Benson and his research.
His work was groundbreaking. He provided some of the earliest scientific evidence for the benefits of meditation.
Really?
Yeah, he showed that regular meditation could actually lower blood pressure.
Wow.
This was huge because it started to bridge this gap between mental practices and measurable physical effects, something many scientists were doubtful about.
Right. How could changing your thoughts affect something as automatic as blood pressure?
Exactly, but his research really started to change things.
And if we fast forward to today, we see a huge shift. Meditation and relaxation techniques are increasingly accepted in mainstream medicine.
That's great to hear.
The author even mentions a meeting of the American College of Cardiology where they discuss the positive effects of focused relaxation. And then there's Dr. Dean Ornish's work, which is really compelling. He showed improvements in heart disease, both high blood pressure and blocked arteries, through a routine that included yoga and meditation.
Along with diet and exercise changes, of
Of
course.
course, but here's the really amazing part. Some of his patients were able to significantly reduce or even stop taking their hypertension medication.
Wow. So lifestyle changes, incorporating things like meditation, can have a profound impact on chronic conditions.
They really can, and the evidence keeps growing. The author points to programs at Harvard and the University of Massachusetts that have successfully used meditation with hundreds of people with hypertension.
That's impressive.
And get this, a symposium by the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute recommended non-drug approaches, including meditation, as a first-line treatment for both borderline and existing high blood pressure.
That's a big deal, a major medical organization endorsing meditation.
It is. It shows how much acceptance these practices are gaining.
So it's like the medical community is starting to really understand the importance of mental and behavioral factors in our physical health.
Exactly. And, meditation isn't the only option out there.
Oh, right.
The author mentions other techniques like autogenic suggestion, self-hypnosis, progressive muscle relaxation, and biofeedback.
It's good to know you have choices.
Yeah, finding a technique that clicks with you and that you can do regularly is key.
Makes sense. It's not one size fits all.
Now, the author gets really personal. He talks about monitoring his own blood pressure.
Oh, wow.
That first reading of 13.8/11 was a wake-up call, especially with a diastolic of 11.
Because hypertension is often defined as a diastolic of 9 or higher?
Exactly, and he discovers this scalding reactor pattern. His blood pressure was fine when calm, but would spike under pressure.
That's something he figured out by using a monitor at home, right?
Yep, it shows how important it is to understand your own body's stress responses.
It's all about knowing your own patterns and triggers. What might seem normal in a relaxed state could be very different when you're stressed.
Right, and this scalding reactor pattern is actually quite common.
Is it?
Yeah, it affects about 1 in 3 people.
Interesting.
And, the author was already health conscious, watched his weight, salt, alcohol, exercised, quit smoking years ago, even cut out caffeine.
So he was already doing a lot of the right things.
He was, and he even had a background in meditation, had studied in India, written books, given lectures.
So he wasn't a complete novice.
Nope, but even his regular 20-minute daily practice wasn't enough for his high blood pressure.
Wow. So even with healthy habits and some experience, it might not be enough.
Right, that's what led him to that more intensive retreat.
Interesting. So sometimes you need to go deeper.
It seems so, and thankfully it worked. His blood pressure went down to 12.2/7 after the retreat.
That's great.
And by keeping up a daily practice back home, an hour each morning, he's managed to keep it around 13/8.
Even with the stresses of daily life.
Even with deadlines and everything. But he notes that if he skips those morning sessions, his blood pressure creeps back up.
So consistency is really key.
It is. Meditation isn't a one-time fix. It's an ongoing thing for lasting benefits.
Right. Skipping sessions can bring back the issues you're trying to address.
Now let's shift gears a bit. The author explores the broader effects of meditation on stress.
Okay.
He talks about his time in India, observing the calmness and resilience of yogis, lamas, and monks, even in tough situations.
That's always so inspiring.
It is, and there's this incredible story of S.N. Goenka, a successful businessman who overcame debilitating migraines through meditation.
Wow.
And he managed to balance his business life with teaching meditation.
That's amazing. It challenges the idea that you need to be a recluse to benefit from meditation.
Right. It shows it's applicable to a busy modern life.
Absolutely.
And again, scientific research backs this up. Psychologist Gary Schwartz found that regular meditators had lower daily anxiety and fewer psychosomatic problems, things like colds, headaches, insomnia. And the author's own study where he compared experienced meditators and non-meditators reactions to a stressful film is really eye-opening.
What did he find?
Both groups showed similar initial physical responses, increased heart rate sweating, but the meditators recovered much faster after the film ended.
So they were able to regulate their stress response more effectively.
Exactly. And even beginners who meditated for the first time recovered quicker than those who had never meditated.
That's encouraging. It suggests meditation can help you build resilience to stress.
Exactly. And it helps break that fight or flight cycle so many of us get stuck in. Instead of staying tense long after a stressful event, meditators relax more quickly.
Right. They don't stay in that heightened state.
And he contrasts this with someone who's chronically anxious. They see everyday events as crises, constantly tense, and less able to handle future stress.
That makes sense. So meditation can help you shift your baseline level of reactivity.
Exactly. Now, there's this misconception that meditation makes you passive, almost zombie-like.
Yeah, I've heard that.
But the author points out that many experienced meditators are very active, engaged people.
That's true.
And brain research helps explain why meditation is about training your attention, which is different from just relaxing and letting your mind wander.
So it's about cultivating a specific type of awareness.
Exactly. And this has lasting benefits, better focus, noticing subtle cues, even increased empathy in conversations.
That makes sense. It's about being more present and engaged.
It's amazing how the understanding of meditation has evolved. In 1984, the National Institutes of Health actually recommended it as an initial treatment for mild hypertension.
Really, that's a big shift.
It is, and there was this surge of research in the 70s showing all sorts of benefits. Fewer colds, headaches, reduced severity of high blood pressure, even psychotherapists were using it.
So it went from being this fringe practice to a recognized approach for well-being.
And to be clear, while meditation is often used for relaxation, its core function is about retraining your attention. That's what leads to those unique benefits.
Like greater insight, concentration, empathy.
Right. And while Western techniques like progressive relaxation and autogenic training might have similar effects on the body,
They don't have that same reflective element.
right, meditation goes beyond simple relaxation.
Though it is very effective at inducing deep relaxation.
That's true. Now, there's also some fascinating research on how meditation affects your immune system and cardiovascular health.
Like what?
Janice Kiecolt-Glazer's research showed improved immune function in older adults who used relaxation exercises.
Interesting.
And medical students who used them to manage exam stress had an increase in disease-fighting cells.
That explains why people who meditate seem to get sick less often.
And research shows that meditation reduces your body's response to norepinephrine, a stress hormone that raises blood pressure.
So it's almost like taking medication.
It has a similar effect to beta blockers, which are commonly used to lower blood pressure.
That's really fascinating. It provides a biological explanation for the benefits.
And the potential applications are so broad. Relaxation techniques are being used for high blood pressure, often reducing or even eliminating medication,
Right.
alleviating chest pain and irregular heartbeats, lowering cholesterol, improving blood flow to the heart, regulating blood sugar and diabetes.
That's a lot.
And it goes on reducing emotional reactions in asthma patients, decreasing painkiller needs for chronic pain.
It seems like it can help with a huge range of conditions.
You really can't. Even managing side effects of medical treatments,
Yeah.
gastrointestinal issues, insomnia, emphysema skin conditions.
It really highlights the body's incredible ability to heal and how these techniques can support that.
The connection between meditation and psychotherapy is also really interesting. The author talks about Hans Selye's concept of stress therapy and how meditators' stress response at quicker recovery fits perfectly with it.
It makes sense promoting both psychological and physical well-being.
And meditation can facilitate self-desensitization, bringing all your mental content into awareness in a relaxed state.
So it's like you're facing your inner world without being overwhelmed.
And it can enhance your access to your unconscious mind, potentially leading to richer therapy sessions and greater tolerance of difficult emotions.
That's powerful. It helps you bypass those usual defenses and resistances.
The comparison between Eastern and Western approaches to mental well-being is fascinating.
What's the difference?
While Fred focused on understanding and accepting life's inherent tragic aspects, while Buddha emphasized eradicating suffering through a shift in perception.
Interesting.
Therapy often focuses on the content of your thoughts and feelings, while meditation focuses on the nature of awareness itself.
So they have different targets.
Right, but the author emphasizes that they're not mutually exclusive. They can be complementary.
Integrating techniques from both traditions could be very powerful.
Exactly. Now let's talk about preparing for meditation. Different systems have different views on things like purification practices and the ideal environment.
Right. Some emphasize rigorous rituals, while others see them as less important.
And the setting can range from solitary retreats to simply integrating it into daily life.
So there's no single right way to approach it.
Exactly. And the role of teachers and doctrines varies too. You have systems that emphasize monastic settings and studying texts, contrasted with modern approaches like transcendental meditation designed to fit into daily life.
And Krishnamurti even discouraged seeking external guidance or belonging to a community.
Right, but even in traditions that downplay intellectual study, there's still some form of learning involved.
So there's a wide range of philosophies and practices within meditation.
But despite all these differences, there's one key agreement: the importance of retraining your attention.
That seems to be the common thread.
The author introduces the Visuddhimagga, a Buddhist text, which classifies techniques into two categories: concentration and mindfulness.
Concentration being focused on a fixed object and mindfulness observing the flow of your mind.
Exactly. And he gives examples. Concentration techniques include things like repeating sacred sounds or words like in Bhakti Yoga, Kabbalah, Sufi Zikr.
And then you have integrated approaches combining elements of both, like Vipassana in Tibetan Buddhism and Zen.
Right? And techniques that primarily emphasize awareness, like self-remembering in the Gurdjieff tradition.
So seeing these traditions categorized by concentration and awareness helps clarify their approaches.
He also explains the difference in effort. Concentration requires actively keeping your mind on the object, while awareness involves gently redirecting when it wanders.
It's subtle but important.
He gives these contrasting examples: the Theravada instruction to clench your teeth to maintain focus versus the transcendental meditation instruction to gently restart your mantra.
Those small differences reflect deeper philosophical distinctions.
But most schools are actually eclectic, using a mix of both types of techniques.
And the constant is directing your attention, whether through concentration or awareness.
Exactly. Now, here's something interesting. Your beliefs as a meditator can shape how you interpret your experiences.
Oh, how so?
Well, different traditions use different labels for seemingly similar transcendental states, like Fana in Sufism, Samadhi in Yogajana in Buddhism.
So your cultural background influences how you understand your inner world.
Right. He uses the example of Ramana Maharshi interpreting his experiences through Advaita philosophy, and how Paul's Damascus Road experience was interpreted through a Christian lens.
Your reference group provides a lens for understanding.
And the role of a guru is illustrated with the Kundalini Yoga example, where Swami Rudrananda interprets a powerful experience as confirmation of his worthiness.
So a teacher can provide a framework for understanding profound states.
But then there are examples of people like Swami Muktananda and Sri Aurobindo who entered profound states without prior knowledge.
So sometimes experiences can transcend your existing beliefs.
Right now, let's get to the practical guidance on how to meditate.
Yeah.
The author emphasizes it's one of the oldest methods for calming mind and body.
And at its core, it's about training your attention.
Exactly. And the benefits are huge: deep rest for the body, while the mind stays alert, lower blood pressure, heart rate, better stress recovery.
It can help with so many conditions like hypertension, headaches, back pain, anxiety, chronic pain.
And that deep rest also strengthens your immune system.
That's a bonus.
But the most significant effect is cultivating inner peace, that refuge from daily turbulence, better stress management, more calm and energy.
Inner peace is such a powerful outcome.
Now, for you listeners, the author mentions 4 guided meditations on a CD and 2 more in the book: mantra meditation and mindful eating.
That's a great starting point.
He recommends trying the CD meditations first and seeing what resonates with you. Aim for daily practice. Even just 10 to 15 minutes, a little is better than none.
It's about finding what works for you and making it a habit.
He gives instructions on using guided meditations and timing. Self-guided sessions resist the urge to interrupt, even if you feel restless. Those urges are normal.
That's good advice.
He gives an overview of the CD meditations: breath awareness, body scan thought awareness, walking meditation, noting if music is included.
A nice variety to try out.
And then more detailed instructions for each. For breath awareness, find a comfortable seated posture, straight but relaxed back, aligned head, neck, and spine. Focus on the natural flow of breath at your nostrils,
Yeah.
or the rise and fall of your abdomen. Just observe, don't control.
Got it.
Treat thoughts as distractions and gently return to your breath. You can silently repeat in and out, or rising and falling as an anchor.
It's like a mental reminder.
Each time you redirect your attention, you're strengthening your focus.
Makes sense.
For the body scan, he explains it's from Hatha Yoga, and it's great for deep relaxation and releasing muscle tension.
Okay.
Systematically bring your attention to different body parts: forehead, eyes, nose, cheeks, mouth, chin ears, scalp neck, shoulders, arms, hands, upper back, lower back, chest, abdomen, pelvis, thighs, knees, calves, feet.
Wow, that's quite a journey through the body.
It is notice sensations and release tension, become aware of any lightness freedom piece at the end.
It's like a full body reset.
For thought awareness, those distracting thoughts become the focus. Use your breath as an anchor, in, out. When a thought arises silently, label it thinking, hearing, feeling.
Okay.
Observe it without judgment, then return to your breath when it fades.
So you're acknowledging the thought without getting carried away by it.
Exactly. Just recognize the process of thinking, feeling, hearing.
That sounds helpful for managing overthinking.
It is for walking meditation, he explains. It's good for those who find sitting difficult, focus on the sensations of walking, weight, shift, lifting, moving, placing each foot.
So you're bringing mindfulness into movement.
Exactly. Walk in a quiet space barefoot or in socks, 8 to 12 steps forward and back gaze, softly focused on the ground, about a meter ahead.
Okay.
You can silently repeat, lifting, moving, placing with each step. Gently return attention to the sensations when you get distracted, and with a few moments of standing awareness.
A great way to integrate mindfulness into daily life.
For mantra meditation, you use a simple word or sound with positive meaning to aid concentration. Silently repeat it, gently returning when your mind wanders.
It's another type of anchor for the mind.
And finally, mindful eating. It shows how any activity can be meditative. Focus on eating slowly, deliberately, paying attention to every aspect, movements, sensations, sounds, tastes.
It's about slowing down and savoring the experience.
Right. Observe textures, aromas, chew thoroughly.
It transforms eating into a more mindful experience.
So the key takeaway is meditation, in its many forms, offers a powerful way to manage stress, improve health, especially blood pressure, and cultivate inner peace by training your attention.
It's about finding what resonates with you and making it a regular practice.
And as a final thought, consider how training your attention through meditation could impact other areas of your life.
How so?
Could it improve your focus at work or deepen your relationships? The principles of mindful awareness can extend far beyond formal practice.
That's something to ponder for sure.
It is.
It is.
Thanks for joining us today. And until next time, happy meditating.
Take care.
Guys, see you in another podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel.